Hi guys, this is Miss Toy, and today we are going to be doing our Social Studies Simple Solutions lesson number 13. And today you are going to be needing a highlighter and a writing utensil. It's okay if you don't have a highlighter, you can just use your writing utensil to underline stuff that we highlight. But let's get started. So, like I said, we're doing lesson 13 and it starts with the Maya. So we do have a reading passage here. We're going to read through it and highlight important parts in this passage. By the time the Spanish came to the New World in the early 1500s, the Maya had already lost much of their power. One possible explanation for the decline of the Maya is the way they farmed their most important crop, the maize. The Maya would slash and burn the fields to prepare them for planting. The slash and burn method robs the soil of its nutrients, and this may have decreased the production of corn. So, we do have a bolded word there, the slash and burn. So let's go ahead and highlight that sentence that starts with the slash and burn. Another possible explanation is that there was a severe drought. So that is another highlighted word. So we'll highlight drought. A lack of rain over a large period would also decrease the amount of corn that farmers could grow. A shortage of food may have caused the Maya to die off or move away from the large Mayan cities. It is also possible that warfare and competition weakened the great Mayan cities. A combination of any of these events may have led to the decline of the Maya. The Spanish wanted to conquer the Maya in order to seize their gold and silver. The Maya did not have a central city of power, so the Spanish had to conquer the land city by city. Francisco de Montejo and his son Francisco de Montejo the Younger led much of the conquest of the Maya. So, let's highlight Francisco de Montejo and his son Francisco de Montejo the Younger. So that should be highlighted. Led much of the conquest of the Maya. We'll underline that too. Contact with the Spanish had also started a smallpox epidemic, killing large numbers of Maya. Over several decades, Spanish conquerors succeeded in claiming most of the Yucatan Peninsula for the Spain. Okay, so this is what we have highlighted so far. Awesome. So let's do question number 1. A long period without rain is a blank. So let's go back to our passage. So right here we have highlighted a drought. Another possible explanation is that there was a severe drought. A lack of rain over a long period would also decrease the amount of corn that farmers could grow. So that sentence right there gives our definition of the word drought. And it does match a long period without rain. So let's go ahead and write drought. Question 2. The decline of the Maya may have occurred because their supply or demand of maize did not meet their supply or demand for the maize. So let's go back and see where we can find where it mentions. Let me go back here. Okay. So I've underlined where our passage begins with this term right here. So, one possible explanation for the decline of the Maya is the way they formed their most important crop, the maize. The Maya would slash and burn the fields to prepare them for the planting. The slash and burn method robs the soil of its nutrients, and this may have decreased the production of corn. So, let's think about that for a minute. So, the decline of the Maya may have occurred because their supply of the maize did not meet their demand for the maize. So, let's circle those. Because in that passage, it's talking about how their seize and or their slash and burn methods were killing off the supply, but their demand was still up. So we will circle supply and then demand. So question 3: the Maya prepared for planting crops by the slash and burn method. This robbed the soil of nutrients. And we already talked about that in this highlighted sentence right here where the slash and burn is. So our answer for this one is going to be nutrients. So I'm going to go ahead and circle that. So yours should look like this. Questions 4 through 10. Use the map to complete the following items. Trace the prime meridian. So remember, the prime meridian is the 0-degree longitude line. So that means it goes up and down, long longitude. So let's find our prime meridian. So we're going to be looking at these lines right here. And our 0-degree one is this one right here. So let's trace over this, our prime meridian. So I've already traced it, so it looks a little bit bolder. The next one is place an X on the equator. So remember, our equator is on our latitude lines that go from right to left. So they go horizontally like this. So our equator, let's look at our latitude lines right here on the side, and it's our 0-degree one. So our equator is going to be this line right here in the center. So we're going to put an X beside it. So I've already put X on both sides for you guys. Next, which are the closest coordinates for Madagascar? So we see Madagascar is already bulleted there for us. So let's find our longitude lines for Madagascar. And remember, our longitude lines are marked with west and east, and they're at the top here. So Madagascar runs in between 30 degrees east and 60 degrees east, but it is closer to 60 degrees east. So let's see here if we can find one that would be closest. So we have two possible choices here. We have 48 degrees east and 58 degrees east. We probably won't use the third and first options because they're not, the first option's in the west, and then 65 degrees east is way after that. So let's go ahead and mark that off. So we have our two options right here for us already picked. So let's find our latitude lines. And we know that our latitudes are going to be in the south here. So it's going to be in between the equator, which is 0 degrees, and 30 degrees south. So I think it's not directly on this 30-degree line right here, but it's a little bit above. So I think it would be closer to the 20 degrees south right here. So our answer will be this one, 20 degrees south and 48 degrees east. So let's go ahead and circle that option. So that should be our answer right there. So now we need to underline the two hemispheres in which Madagascar is located. So we've already picked our coordinates for the closest coordinates to Madagascar, which is 20 degrees south and 48 degrees east. So we have, we already know that that coordinate is going to be in our southern hemisphere because we have found that our coordinate is, our latitude line is south. So let's go ahead and circle southern. And we do know that it's in the eastern hemisphere because 48 degrees east. We know that that is the coordinate for that, and it is located along this eastern hemisphere, and the coordinates that are marked with E. So let's go ahead and circle eastern. So that's what yours should look like. Which ocean borders Africa to the west? So here is the continent of Africa right here. And we want to know which ocean borders it to the west. So the western hemisphere is going to be over here. And the only ocean that we see labeled west of Africa is the Atlantic Ocean. So the ocean that borders Africa to the west is the Atlantic Ocean. So let's go ahead and write that in. Awesome. Write T for true and F for false. Africa has parts in all 4 hemispheres. So let's take a look here. So for our eastern hemisphere, Africa is located in some of the eastern hemisphere. Let's look at our southern hemisphere right in here. Africa, like the bottom half of Africa is in the southern hemisphere. So we know it's in the eastern and the south. Let's see if there's any in the north. So it's going to be everything up here. So a big chunk of the African continent is in the northern hemisphere. So we know it's in the north, we know it's in the east, and we know it's in the south. So we need to see if it's in the west. And right here we have this little quarter piece right here is in the western hemisphere. So Africa is in all 4 hemispheres. So we will write T for true. Okay, and that is lesson 13 of our simple solutions. Here is a look if you want to go ahead and pause and see and mark your answers if they're correct or not. And that is all for lesson 13. Thank you.